You are looking live. It's Thursday night. There's football on, but who's watching football? I hear everyone is anti-football these days. My fantasy cheerleading squad is fantastic. Tonight we're back. We've got a bunch of stories. We got a few videos. We got some gun stuff to talk about. Could that be me? That could be me that has it on somewhere else. Where is it? My fantasy cheerleading squad is fantastic. Is that somebody else? Is that one of you guys?
No, it's not me.
Hold on. Stand by, guys. There it is. I found it.
Got some gun stuff to talk about.
I found it. I apologize. Check out Gun News Weekly over on gunchannels.com. Check it out on YouTube. And, of course, check us out over on YouTube. What's up, everybody? Tag Daddy here tonight on a Thursday night. Ross is with us. What's up, brother?
What's happening, Kevin? Glad to be here. Thanks to everybody in the chat right now, man. Chat is banging off right now. Timmy's Guns was the first in the chat tonight. Good to see you tonight, Timmy.
Very cool. And don't forget, the guys that are chatting and joining and subscribing on YouTube, you're the people that are winning the prizes. I just sent out another Nate Squared holster to a winner. Casey, what's going on, brother?
Not much, fellas. Hope all is well. Kev, what is that rifle behind you? That is sexy.
That is the... Hey, we'll just start there. That's the head-down operator.
Oh, cool.
I've got the CAA bipod is new on it. I've got a Midwest Industries QD with a Hilux. I don't know which one that is, the 10x40 or the 10x50. Hoe grip. A couple other things. Geisley trigger.
I've never seen a Hilux that wasn't a red dot. You like it?
This one, actually I have two different ones. One has the green reticle, one has the red.
No, I mean like as far as just a plain, non-magnified red dot.
I have their... No, I don't have anything
No,
that's
I'm
not
saying I have not seen a Hilux that wasn't just a simple... That's the first time I've seen a Hilux that style.
I've got a 1x4 and I've got a couple of their... This is called the Pentalux. Yeah, this is the Pentalux TAC V 210-42.
Gotcha.
Hey, you know where else I'm going tonight? Because it's right here. Happy birthday to Brody. Our homeboy's 9 this week. He just had a birthday. I know he's having a party this weekend. I wish I could be in the neighborhood to spread some cheer, but happy birthday, Brody. He's our boy.
Yeah, happy birthday, Brody.
The Brody box is getting some additions. We're going to talk about them later, but HexMag's jumping in the Brody box for the next Brody box winner. Nice. Anybody that's got someone that's deserving and getting a swag bag from Gun News Weekly, please jump in and let us know. I hear popping. That means I got to get rid of that chat too, so hold on. Get rid of all that big box.
It goes down in the DM.
It does. It does. All right, let's start with some stories. We got 2 police officers wounded in Midtown Manhattan. No one shot at them. However, once again, Barney Fife and like carnival music comes to my head when I think of the cops in New York running down and there's a guy that's cutting people. So they pull out guns, start shooting, and they shoot a couple of their own. At least one of their own got grazed. Police officers chased, shot, and wounded a man brandishing a knife, possibly a meat cleaver, near Madison Square Garden in Midtown Manhattan today. The suspect apparently attacked the cops, cutting one officer on 32nd Street near the 7th Avenue. Cops then shot the man. Oh, Ross, there it is. Casey said it at 5 after.
No. Casey can't say it. It has to be somebody else. It has to be somebody.
It was any mention of the hood. Any mention of the hood. It was.
Did I win? We're at 5.
It's at 5. You won.
Oh,
congratulations.
That
was an inside joke. Sorry, we were wondering who was going to know.
Well, it's 9:04 when it was posted. So.
All right, you're good. You're good.
I said between 4 and 5. I'm just saying.
Sorry for interrupting that story for all the people that are watching. Pretty sorry about that. The suspect apparently attacked the cops. Cops then shot the man who's expected to survive. They did shoot him. 2 police officers were wounded. One officer may have suffered a graze wound from a bullet. So, once again, the lack of training, the lack of pistol.
And this is up in New York, right?
Aptitude in the city where they tell you you're not allowed to defend yourself is just, it's shocking again.
Now, I have heard multiple reports of of New York officers not being, I don't want to say well trained because that's not fair, but not being precision with their shots. Let's put it that way.
Well, we had the one where they 9 people were shot when they were actually trying to shoot one. That was last year in Times
They were
Square.
taking shots at like 50 feet at the guy or something like that. I mean, that was crazy.
50 feet with a pistol?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy, dude. And they were like taking down bystanders and whatnot. That was pretty crazy. And now this, you'd think that these guys would learn that if they're going to put guns in these guys' hands, they need to train them judiciously, you know?
Social media was all over it. They had an overhead view of it with a helicopter and a bunch of ambulances and such. And obviously, then the pro-gun crowd came in and said, meat cleaver, dead, we're going to ban meat cleavers, blah blah blah. Ross, you said you saw a picture, it looked more like a hatchet, but we've had trouble refinding that picture.
I have had a problem finding it again, but boy, it sure did look like a something I take out into the woods and cut trees down with. You know what I mean? Like a hatchet, not a cleaver, but could have been a bad picture too.
No real noise yet on the internet about what precipitated it, what happened, etc. There is that story from, I believe it was Phoenix, where the cops were maliciously rammed with a car. We'll see that later in the show tonight, but it sounds to me like it was a fight with cops. Next story is really a crazy one too that we just became aware of. Ross, the
13.
Yeah, go ahead. The 13.
Yeah, 13-year-old in Columbus, Ohio. This is a tough story. Cops get called to an armed robbery, and initially that's the way I heard the story was, cops came to an armed robbery, chased down a 13-year-old that was involved in this armed robbery. The kid pulls out a gun. They shoot him dead to find out that it was a BB gun. Now, I did a little deeper investigation into this story, and I don't know if it changed my position on it per se, but it definitely adds a level of bizarreness to the story. So you hear armed robbery and you think, bank or store or something. He actually held some dude up on the street for $10. So a 13-year-old kid ends up losing his life over $10.
Over making the decision to rob somebody and run with $10 that he stole with a BB gun.
Absolutely. Tragic as it is, I totally agree, man. I mean, if you're going to run from the cops and you're going to pull something that looks like a gun, what, are cops just like not supposed to shoot at you because you fit a profile? I thought we weren't profiling. You know what I mean? If you pull a gun and you're running from the cops, you take your licks. Now, tragic story because the kid's only 13 years old. Apparently into sports, yada yada yada. They don't go into what caused him to get into an armed robbery. Obviously, they call him a model kid. All the bleeding heart stuff that you typically get in a story like this. But the reality is he was running from the cops with what looked to be a real weapon. So
let's get real. Any kid that gets shot, you're not going to have some asshole come on TV and be like, that kid was a jerk.
Yeah, he just
happened. It's always, this was a good kid, this was a model citizen, he brightened up every room. You hear the same things time and time again because most kids are great kids. They're kids.
Absolutely.
Actually, here locally, we have this almost exact same scenario.
You're in Virginia for reference.
Yeah, in Virginia, about a year ago. The kid was a little older. He was 16, but unlicensed. Did the same thing. Pellet gun, looked real. They shot him. And what was kind of shocking, maybe it's just because of where we are, national media didn't catch it, but there was even quotes from the news, who's liberally twisted here as well, that actually mentioned that he had trouble in school and that he was at his, 4th or 5th school in the last, couple of years, which I was surprised to hear that because typically you get that model citizen speak, but
that's what the mainstream is pushing right now is model student, or not, maybe not model student, but a good athlete, as coach calls him, a good performer, had lots of potential.
Well, it's tragic. I mean, no 13-year-old deserves to be killed, but you put yourself in that situation, and despite how old you are, if you're holding a piece of metal that looks like a gun, and it's just.
People don't know. Ross and I were bad kids. I never put myself in a position where I was in that position.
Yeah.
I have run from the cops a few times, but I mean, I would never have pulled out a BB gun while I was doing it. I'll tell you that.
Best running from the cops story later tonight on Gun News Weekly. Let's get back to these stories.
And I've seen, now everything's so realistic. At my house, and I've said it on here before, the pellet guns, the airsoft guns, they stay in the gun safe with the regular guns. And they are, with my son, it's so he doesn't get pissed off and pop off of airsoft at one of his sisters. But, we treat it just like it's a normal firearm. And we've talked about the fact that, hey, this thing could be, mistaken for a real gun. That's why we have to be careful with these things. So
it's a good call.
Yeah.
I'm in a Facebook chat right now talking to some people from other countries that are friends with my friends from high school, and their whole thing was if you have the threat of a carjack, having a flare gun or what do they call it, a starter pistol. And I was like, ugh, I don't know about not having, if you're gonna. My whole thing was commit. And they're like, well, it's not America. We can't do what you guys can do. So, yeah, different things to think about, scaring off people. Check this out. This is an ongoing project that's more than halfway done, and it's going to probably hit next week sometime. This is my my research clipboard. Am I a little scattery? I feel like I'm chopped up a little bit here.
No, it sounds good, bro.
Good.
All right. This is my clipboard on Walmart out-of-control crime problem is driving police crazy. This was the Bloomberg report that caught my eye. I've been doing some stuff and doing some filming and getting a report together that we'll eventually probably just show it on the show here, but also release it as separate content. And this week I got all this extra stuff to talk about that just adds to it. It's like I don't want to wrap it up yet because there's stuff like this. This woman pulls into her Walmart, pulls out her Facebook, her phone, goes live on Facebook, and explains the following. Oh, now I'm back to an ad. Hold on. See, this was being. Hold on one second.
The irrational fear of bad breath.
Sorry about that, everybody. Self-production.
I hate going to it.
Here we go.
And this is happening in front of my car.
Where they come from? I just need one now.
So, this is happening right now. Apparently right in front of my car, 2 men have been shot. And I was inside buying some light bulbs and stuff, inner tube for my son for his bike. And everybody was telling everybody not to go outside. So, you be careful when you're going to Walmart. Lots of witnesses apparently.
So the story is a woman was placing her infant into a car seat in the parking lot. 2 suspects struck her in the back of the head with an unspecified object. Good Samaritan was shot repeatedly after trying to help her. Second Good Samaritan then intervened, shooting and killing one of the suspects. The second suspect fled and was apparently apprehended by a canine team near the store. Both victims remain hospitalized and in critical condition. Now you move on to Sunrise. If this can work for me, let's see here. There it is. And we have this news report from, I believe it was yesterday or the day before.
Well, we have a news alert for you right now out of Sunrise, where there's an investigation on a deadly shooting.
That's right. 7's Katrina Bush is live with more details now.
Katrina Bush.
Well, in Sunrise confirming to us just a few minutes ago that they are investigating an armed robbery at the Walmart on University Drive. Want to give you a look at the scene where they have much of this Walmart parking lot taped off here, and you can see the blue tarp that is surrounded, is going all the way pretty much around this white car here, and you see a couple of detectives there conversing about what is going on here. So here's what we know right now. We know that an employee was coming out of the store when he was approached by a man. He said the man pulled out a gun, the two exchanged words, and again, once again, police just in the last few minutes confirming it was an armed robbery attempt, but that employee who has a license to carry a weapon pulled out his gun and shot that suspect, killing him. But once again,
All right, so there you go. There's a couple of quick stories. Recently, one very local to me, that one that they just talked about, is about 20, 25 minutes down University Drive. You hit Sunrise. Walmart has been criticized in the past few months for the amount of crime that's happened in its stores. In Tampa, Florida, as an example, the local police department has been so overwhelmed by calls to Walmart stores that the company has implemented a new, quote, diversion program to give petty shoplifters a slap on the wrist instead of jail time. According to the Tampa Bay Time, the program allows first-time shoplifters who steal items worth less than $25 to avoid criminal charges, according to the Times. As punishment, the offenders must take a class on retail theft and pay restitution. So nothing on your record, no arrest, no nothing, up to $25. If I was in high school, that would be a game with me and my friends.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
And trust me, it would have. Sorry.
I
That's
saw
all down at Walmart. What do you think about the first one with and it seems like a lot of good Samaritans and people jumping in to help people is a common thread in some of these stories. The other aspect is, I don't know what the Walmart policy is for carrying guns, but I don't think you're allowed to carry a gun as an employee on the clock. So how did this guy that got carjacked go into his car? Was he on duty? Was he working and then was going home, or was he at the Walmart and just happened to be an employee? We don't have those details.
Well, there are several Walmarts. I just looked it up. As you know, you noted this is a trend. Like Tulsa in Tulsa.
Yep.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I've got a 14-page report from Bloomberg.
Yeah, that's where. There's actually an officer that's his beat.
Yep,
is Walmart.
Correct.
He stays there, has an office there.
Correct. So this is going to be again a couple of the questions I'm asking in this report I'm doing is it because population is all going to Walmart? It's a place where everyone is all the time, therefore there's just crime going on? Are people targeting it? Is it a soft target? You read that article further, Casey. There was a meth lab that someone built underneath the back corner of one of them, and there wasn't enough security at the Walmart to realize that was going on.
Well, in a lot of places, Walmart was...
Did you hear what I just said? They built a meth lab on the property, and no one knew about it.
That's insane. But
it's crazy.
In a lot of these places where Walmart are, just how they do their demographics. In a lot of small towns, the Walmart is the store. It's somewhere where everybody congregates to go. It's it's the one-stop shop.
Yeah, but so is Target, and so are
but you gotta realize, Target's fancy, Ross.
Target employs a full-time security person that's armed.
Yeah, and then Walmart. There's Walmart in podunk towns everywhere, and that's how. I think that's originally how they set up shop. Was going.
And you
to
think
these...
it's because of location? It's because of where they set up shop? Because I haven't done the research, obviously, Kevin, that you have, but I have a hard time with it is Walmart's responsibility to provide security, only if they don't want their stuff stolen. You know what I mean? Otherwise, why is crime so concentrated at Walmart? They don't have a people of Target or people of local Joe Blow Kmart. How about Kmart?
Well, Kmart's are far and few in between now, but
anymore, right?
The thing with Walmart, like I said, you've got a lot of these rural towns, and everybody lives out off some dirt road somewhere. But the one place that everybody happens to go and congregate is the Walmart. So I don't know. Does that make it an easier target, or is it just a place where you as a criminal will have the best opportunity to, most bang for your buck, I guess?
Well, here's another question that Ross touched on. So, as a Walmart shopper, who's in charge of my safety? From the time that I drive into their parking lot and walk over to the store, shop at their store, give them my money, take their goods, go back to my car, who's responsible for my safety?
Well, we know the answer to that.
We know the answer inherently. But when it comes to lawsuits and it comes to perception and it comes to
Sure, it's Walmart.
I'm going to tell you something about Walmart.
They had low lighting and there was no security guard there, and again and I was prey on their parking lot, Ross.
Okay, but Walmart, my CCW instructor basically told us that go into Walmart carrying. They don't have a problem with it. They don't have a no carry policy as far as I know. And that's how you were to get over your, that little stage fright when you first carry a gun. You know what I mean? You walk in Walmart, you get the 1,000 people looking at you. You think you think that everybody knows you're packing heat. I think Walmart thinks it's your responsibility to provide safety. And as a side note, if I were a cop, I would station my ass at Walmart if there's that much crime. Shit, that's promotion time right there, baby.
Well, I don't know.
You just have because there's a frozen treat section at your job.
Well, that's also, I mean, ice cream's better than donuts. Hashtag.
Dollar candy box back by the electronics. Yeah, we hope to shed some light on a proper escape plan. Is my roboting better?
No, it's still bad.
I think you got a mic problem. I think your mic is like, you need to plug it or something. It's got like a loose connection.
Hold on.
Yeah, Walmart.
I'm gonna check there. Is that better? Check.
That's a little.
No, it's not.
Now we're going.
Like, check one more time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, it's good.
Now I can't hear you. I'm gonna jump out and jump right back in.
All right.
You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
We'll talk shit about you.
Yeah.
So how about that hoodie?
I won. We called it before the show. I said he said, how long do you think before somebody says something about the hoodie? I said, first 5 minutes. He said, no, you can't say that. That's too loose. So I said between 4 and 5. So I don't know what I won, but I won.
Yeah, and obviously nobody said anything about it. I was just like,
I'll take it.
I'll
take it.
You degrade our audio, Kevin. It was just fantastic, and then you pop back in, and it's back to sound like shiitakes.
He can't hear us.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Now I can't hear you guys. What's going on tonight here? Can you hear me? Thumbs up.
Oh yeah, you bet. We got you.
Money.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, luckily we don't seem to have the same problems at our Walmart. We have a very interesting selection of people that go to our Walmart. You could probably put up a people of Walmart page just from our Walmart, but no real crime. There's usually a cop there, but I've been there a lot, and I've never seen any incidents. You just see them staged there. You know what I mean? Which is probably a pretty smart thing if you're looking to write a whole bunch of tickets.
Yeah, the town I was born in, Morristown, Tennessee, they got their Walmart. It was a big to-do, and I went with my grandmother. We were outside waiting to be picked back up, and me being the little 4 or 5 year old fat kid, I wanted the hot dog, and she didn't buy it. And an old man came out and gave it to me. Asked us how we liked the store, whatever. It turned out it was Sam Walton. He used to go to a lot of the store openings, and
check.
Of course, I don't remember that story. My grandmother.
Check on me. See, I can see the levels. I can see you guys. I can see you guys talking, but I cannot hear you. This will be interesting. All right. Next story. Talk to me in the internal. How about that? If you need to, but I'll throw it to you guys. Florida man fatally shot while testing out a bulletproof vest. Police say a Florida man asking if a bulletproof vest, quote, still worked, was fatally shot by his cousin. The 23-year-old put on the vest late Saturday and, quote, wondered out loud whether it still worked. His cousin said, let's see. Officers found Mendez outside the house with a gunshot wound in his chest. He died at the hospital. According to the report, the other cousin had initially told officers that he found his wounded cousin after hearing a gunshot. However, everyone came clean eventually, and witnesses, and then they know what happened. That's happening over in Hillsborough County.
I wonder, why wouldn't you just put the vest out and shoot it without someone in it? Whatever.
Dude, when I ask
no idea
you a
what kind of
question,
vest or whatever.
Well, if I ask you a question out loud, Casey, about, I wonder if a bullet would go through this that I'm wearing, I would not expect you to pick up your AK and start, putting rounds
Yeah,
down range at me.
obviously.
These are a couple 20-year-olds. I suspect alcohol was involved.
Probably, yeah.
I apologize not being able to hear you guys. Give me the give me like a signal every time we're ready to go to the next story. There you go. Perfect. Next story.
Yeah.
Missouri. A couple stories out of Missouri. The legislature overrides the veto, becomes the latest constitutional carry state. That's always a good thing. They also had a kid from high school that pled guilty to machine gun possession. A 19-year-old man was arrested in February after bringing a loaded gun to Tarkio, Missouri high school, pleaded guilty in a federal court on Monday to machine gun possession. The ATF announced. Michael Knopf is facing charges for, according to an affidavit, local law enforcement was called to the school, which was placed on lockdown after another student alerted a school member, staff member, that he was in possession of a fully loaded magazine. They say that he might have been planning a mass shooting, etc., etc. Military-style clothing, body armor, search of his vehicle, found 9mm mags, 15 magazines containing .223. There was no firearm chambered in that caliber that was found. Further search of his home turned up numerous magazines, including a .556 caliber pistol with no serial number or manufacturer stamp, and a fully auto Uzi with a partial serial number. So he's in trouble. He's going to jail. He pled guilty. Staying on the legislative front for a second. Go ahead, Ross.
You can't hear me, but I'm going to ask you, was he there to shoot the place up? Hold on. Let's see.
Yeah, like what tipped them off?
Is the gun channels, are people in the, what tipped them off? I have no idea. It sounds like a student or a staff member is what they said. According to the chats, can everyone hear me and everyone can hear you?
Yeah.
We're good? All right.
Yeah.
Keep on rolling. It's funny. I'm trying to read lips and I need some nonverbals.
We could really use this opportunity to screw with him.
This one is
olive juice.
The headline is brutal, but house-to-house confiscation of guns will be on the California ballot. Basically, they've got this ballot coming up in November. We're right around the corner, and we're going to have a minute later tonight where Ross and I speak a little bit about politics. We're right around the corner.
That's going to be tough.
Various elections and what's that?
It's going to be tough if you can't hear me.
Okay, funny. The new Proposition 63. It's going to ban all the magazines with 10 rounds or more, but it also would turn basically everyone that owns or has any of them in possession into a criminal instantly. You'd have to remove from the state, sell it to a licensed dealer, or surrender it to police for destruction. Proposition 63 is bad for gun owners, according to the sheriff, and he says the measure would do little to prevent the criminal element from acquiring guns and ammo via the black market or through theft. It does also, ammunition sales have to go through licensed vendors rather than just over the internet.
I would really like to know. When the government thought it would be okay to make something illegal that was previously legal and then take it from you, even though you purchased it legally, you owned it legally, until some new fancy law came into play or somebody reinterpreted the law, and then all of a sudden that makes you a criminal, even though you have never done anything illegal at all whatsoever other than own something you purchased legally.
I could do an awesome bad lip reading thing right now with Ross the way he did it. At all.
Yeah, he got
I could tell. That was good though.
What do you think about that, Casey?
All right.
I'm with you.
Ross, this one's for you. Not for. I take that back. Never mind. I didn't say that. Ross, I thought this would be a fun story to talk about with you, only because you're my brother, and it's a fun story. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're married and I'm married. But this guy in Kansas City Lawrence John Ripple, 70 years old,
The old Ripple.
decided he was fed up with his home life, and he made up a plan to escape his wife. So basically, he went to a bank and handed the retailer a note that said, "I have a gun. Give me your cash." He made off with $3,000, but wasn't intent on a quick getaway. In fact, the teller told authorities he walked into the lobby area and just sort of waited. Police arrived a short time later, and they found Ripple, who was still in possession of the cash, and reportedly pointed to himself as the guy they were looking for.
It's me.
I'm right here. I'm right here.
Take me to jail. Get me away from this crazy ass.
I almost did
Ripple
that
told
once.
investigators during the interview that prior to the robbery, he and his wife became engaged in an argument that he decided that he, quote, no longer wanted to be in the situation, unquote. He wrote the note in his wife's presence and told her he, quote, would rather be in jail than at home. Apparently, his plan has worked.
I'm gonna tell you a funny story. I once drove around my town after a fight with my wife with a non-alcoholic beer, hoping to get pulled over by the cops.
And
So,
what was
our man of the week, Mr. Ripple.
Uh,
There you
oh
go.
Rip?
All right.
we
Here's a
need to
story.
get
I'll
his
just go
audio
ahead.
fixed.
When you guys are done talking.
Yeah, we need to get his audio fixed.
I'll go into this next one. This one comes complete with a chart. But basically, a pilot program is aiming to prevent suicide with the help of gun owners and industry. This is obviously on guns.com. Suicide Prevention Week came to a close, and one organization continued to move forward with the pilot program. Project 2025, launched in October of last year, is an initiative of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, the country's largest suicide prevention organization. The project's aim is simple: reduce the gun-related suicide rate 20% by 2025.
And how do they plan to do
Goes
this?
into all the statistics, goes into all the help that they need. This is, kind of our veteran website of the week to support. Go check this out. And basically, they break it down to big numbers, and we know what part of this is related to the vets. But it's something to check out, and I think what they're doing is good. So I wanted to mention that one. Right. This is just one to mention, and because of the mic thing, I think I'm going to fly through these other stories and probably cut this one a little short tonight because it's very frustrating not having any feedback other than just hearing myself talk. But you remember Katie Couric went on and had that long diatribe and asked gun owners questions, and they sat there basically. The way they showed it was they were stone-faced and didn't have an answer for her tough questions, which were obviously, and then you play that side by side with the real video of what actually happened when they were interviewing. They came up with immediate answers that were smart, well thought out, and obviously the positions that they had that they didn't, that the people filming did not want to get out. Well, they're now suing her for, quote, disregarding the truth in a documentary. Though I said that word
Good.
weird. Ross, you're muted. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is great news. This is at least a step in the right direction in trying to get our media to provide the truth. And if this lawsuit holds and they can actually get her for defamation or the damages that they say that they've incurred, which I think are many. I think the swayed perception by the uninformed is the biggest damage that was caused. But if they can go after her and they can get her on this, that's a kink in the armor. You know what I mean? That's a place where we can get in and start making our media honest again.
They have full complaint. They have a way to present a compelling case because they can use the video and put them side by side and show the jury. And I think it's pretty, to me, it's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
And you can watch the footage of the film. Head on over to The Blaze. That's where that article sits. Check that out. Just wanted to shout out a new social media site for gun supporters, as Facebook's tossing a few of them out. It's called Weapons Feed. Go ahead and check that out. Basically, there's a few people that have been shut down from Facebook, etc., and they're looking for new homes, and that's one that's come up. A couple Good Samaritan and people taking care of business rather than being abused or being of being a victim. There is another story out of Kansas City. Actually, that's that same one. Hold on. Yeah, this is a tab from before. Hold on. That was supposed to go earlier. I apologize. Same one. Next story. An intruder in New Mexico was shot and killed after attacking an elderly homeowner in his own home. Local media, a phone call, got into sheriff's office around 5:30. They got to the scene and they discovered a 48-year-old that broke into a 70-year-old man's home and attacked with a large piece of bamboo stick and a hockey stick. The authorities said that the elderly man suffered severe head injury, but was still able to retrieve a .38 caliber handgun and fight back against the assailant. The homeowner, who was not named, shot Thompson in the chest. He did not appear to have a prior criminal record, and he was shot dead on the scene.
You know, I'm just going to make a comment here on this. This is a perfect example of guns being the great equalizer. We've heard many stories in the past where a 70-year-old man gets bludgeoned to death by a home intruder. 70-year-old man doesn't have the strength of a 48-year-old man. The only equalizer for that guy was his gun, and after suffering head injury, he was able to protect himself, keep himself in a safe position, and dispatch the threat.
They're saying it was justified by all accounts so far, Ross. I can see you finishing up what your thoughts are, but yeah, they're saying that by all accounts, the police are saying there will be a full investigation, but initial reports and what they're saying is that it was justified.
Yeah, and I just thought I would tie this in, Kevin, to the Inspire series you just launched, and Little Red Danger's story. A really small gal who had an experience that taught her what a great equalizer a gun is. And I encourage everybody to go out and check out the Inspire series that Kevin's put together, Kevin and Schwell.
I got a new one here. A couple of gun stories, and then we'll get out of here because again, the rest of the stuff really requires back and forth conversation. To be honest, yeah. Well, but let me wrap up with two quick ones. One is this Meprolite unveiled a new lineup of pistol sights with a single optic option. Check this out, Ross. I know we didn't talk about this at all. Boom. There you go. So what they did, it looks like, is they came up with this thing that goes on the back of the, obviously goes into the back sight only. So you don't have a front sight. And that's kind of funky where you don't even have a plug there or something. So that's something I would want to have addressed. But obviously, it's a big dot. It's a let's see. It's a micro red dot style optic compatible with no popular blah 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 blah. Line up the circle. Of course, let's do. Basically, it talks about front sight snags, etc., etc. You have to check it out. $199, red or green. There you go.
Yeah, it's like a little mini red dot. That's cool.
I'd try it.
I would too.
Like. The other story that's very interesting that I really want to learn more about, and there's only one article that I found out about it on Bearing Arms, is we know about these Johnny Appleseed events that are put on, Project Appleseed, that are put on for the kids. Breaking, M&P 1522s banned at Appleseed events after out of battery and, quote, runaway discharges.
Whoa.
Basically, they've been banned after a series of battery discharge events. The notice, as it was written, to Appleseed instructors, effective immediately, the use of the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522s at an Appleseed hereby banned until Smith & Wesson formally investigates the problem and issues an official corrective action. The AOC will notify the cadre when this ban is lifted.
Good for them.
The AOC has received a rash of reports regarding the safety issues with the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522, including a shooter getting injured as a result of an out-of-battery discharge. As responsible instructors, we have a duty to maintain safety to our events. If we know a rifle to be potentially unsafe, we shouldn't allow it on the line at all.
I agree. Not only do
Maryland,
I agree.
They list a couple things, and I'll just paraphrase them. Bowie, Maryland, a shooter was firing with Thunderbolt ammo and had an out-of-battery discharge. A metal fragment hit the arm of a shooter next to him in the right arm. She did not realize she'd been hit with fragments until later. Casper, Wyoming. This past weekend, we had a student show up with a 1522. She'd been using it pretty regular since she had attended a recent boot camp. After about 8 sets of squares, she began to notice the malfunction. Upon careful observation, it was noticed that as she reset, the sear of the rifle would discharge. Sounds like they're having issues with it firing at a battery. I mean, just.
And you know what? If you're going to send your kids to an event or a practice like the
I've never had a
Appleseed
problem
thing,
with mine.
if you're going to do that, you expect those guys to be safe with your kids. And this just goes to show you that they are over the top safe with your kids. If they see something unsafe, they're not just not going to call it.
I agree with what you're saying. I see what you're saying, and I agree with you 100%. There's no, when it comes to the kids' safety, period. That's the end of the story.
Yep.
There's 3 or 4 more. Again, it says here at the end, as a general rule of thumb, out-of-battery discharges are rare, and runaway guns even more so. The fact that a national rifle trading program feels compelled to ban the entire line because of the threat of these issues is disconcerting, to put it mildly. I'd say so, and I have one of these weapons, and it's my daughter's favorite to shoot, and we've never had an issue with it like that. Never. I keep them clean. It is what it is. Let's see. Wrapping it up. I said that I would mention and talk about hex mags. You ever mess around with hex mags, Ross?
Not yet.
I got the 2nd generation hex mags here, and I investigated them very carefully with my reading glasses earlier, and I found very few differences, but a couple that we should point out. In this hand, I have the Gen 1, and you can see here that's where the connection is inside the gun. You can see the line of the indent that gets put on there every time it gets put into a magazine. You can see that line that goes vertically there. Okay. Compare that to the Gen 2, which first of all has a little ramp that goes the other way, and also has a line built in, so to speak. So that's the big difference that I found. Seems like the followers are exactly the same. Feed lips seem to be exactly the same. I know people that have had 0 problems with these, including me, and I know people that have had nothing but problems with these. Not nothing, but they've had problems with them. And I think that these issues were to address some of the problems that people were having. Let's get real. Companies go through different phases. But Hexmag's also innovative with their grips. You can angle it differently and things like that. So they have a couple other products that are great. The other things that are cool, you can color code them. They do come in 4 or 5 different colors. The other thing that I noticed was that basically on the front, they just did some stuff with the molding. Other than that, it seems to be exactly the same thing.
God, I really wish Kevin had his audio on.
Gen 2. I'm doing like an overall magazine video, and one of the things I did so far was just a mag drop out of a Tavor, and I know that the Gen 1s, they fell free as well. So Hex Mags, check them out. And thanks to them, because we contributed to the Brody bag, like we said, or the Brody box. I will call it the Brody bag this time. Big 3's coming up in a couple weeks. Ross, big event down here. Going to come down and see some vendors, see some media, shoot some guns.
I'm going to be your cameraman. I'm going to be your cameraman. You know.
You going to what? You going to drink, or you going to use a scope? Drink or scope? I don't know what you were saying there. So that's coming up. 1022 has a list of ammo not to use because of malfunction from the chat. Thanks for the info. Is Thunderbolt on there? Because I definitely ran at least 1,000 rounds through mine of Thunderbolt. At least. It's on there? Yeah. The other connection I wanted to make with Veterans website to support this week was go check out the Shooter's Mindset from last night. The guys from Lansang Tactical were on there. They shared their stories. They shared the story about the CAS-22. They talked about some veteran issues. Definitely go check that out. Go support guys over at Shooter's Mindset. and then the gal there is one of their shooters now too. So check that out. Check out Tony and the gang over there, Anthony and the gang over there. What else? What else? Can you hear this, Ross? I gotta double check the sound. The one thing that I wanted to talk about was the question of the week. We didn't talk about it, so let's throw it out there. I'll let you guys each have 15 seconds. How about that? The question of the week from Schwell. Let's do it. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up that you can hear this once it starts, please.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us on Gun News Weekly every Thursday night at 9 p.m. here on YouTube. And we have Gun News Weekly's question of the week. And as usual, this question is brought on by a conversation that I'm having in my regular day-to-day life. Now, this question is directly for those of you that own firearms. Do we as firearms owners realistically believe that there is no database of names, a registry in a sense, of names of those of us that own firearms in America? Do we really believe that when we have our information run and they do that background check, that as soon as that approval number is given and that call is ended, that information goes poof?
There you go. Question of the week. Do you believe that the information is gone as they say it is, or does it stick around? Ross, go ahead.
All right, here's my rundown. I've done a lot of thinking about this question too. My personal opinion is yes, absolutely the government has a database as to what you have, what caliber, everything, the ammo you've got for it, everything. I'm sure of it. Second of all, if they don't, by some small miracle, they don't have it, you got to think about the way we can forensically solve crimes these days. We have way more information out there through the purchase of the weapon, through the purchase of the ammunition, through a paper trail, and the money you spent. More than enough paper trail out there to find out that you shot the gun with that bullet that you bought from this gun store, wherever. The other thing that I really wanted to say about this. I lost my train of thought. Go ahead, Casey. Sorry, man.
All right, Casey, you're up.
Yes and no. I think that the government does know to a point, and I've had dealers and people that are in the know swear to me that no, it's just a firearm, this and that. But I would have to think that information goes somewhere, despite the people saying it doesn't. Like Ross said, I mean, it seems like they can look up a serial number sometimes and know who bought it, who did whatever. But I'm banking on, yes, that information is stored somewhere. I don't know that it has been historically for a long time, but ever since, the big Clinton era, really starting to put firearms regulations out there, I would think, yes, this stuff is on a database somewhere. So.
All right. I would say that wrapping it up with the kind of bringing it back to the rest of the story from earlier in tonight, I'm pretty sure that Casey's shoe store knows all the kicks he's bought. Somehow, somewhere, those numbers, those names, the stock numbers, the UPC codes have all been scanned, and they know exactly which credit. They can figure out real quick which credit cards or which account that's gone to. They know
honestly, Kevin, nowadays with the at least in Colorado, we have to have a background check to sell to even to private parties. So the paper trail is long, and they're getting to the point now where they've got enough restrictions that they can create the paper trail to find out what you have if they really want to know.
All right. That's the question of the week. Thanks, Schwab. Appreciate it. Looks like most of the people that responded said absolutely they do. I think one or two people said they didn't. Who knows? But yeah, I think we all know. Let's see. How else can we? What else? There was nothing else really story-wise I wanted to get to. Well, we're almost to 10 anyway. Thanks to our sponsors. Check out L2D Combat. Check out those barrels. We're doing those barrel test videos soon. That will be badass. Looking forward to that. Check out Keybar. Please support both of those companies. They do support us here. Check out Grizzly Targets. Check out the guys at Lanzang Tactical. check out HPR Ammo when you get a chance as well. Ross, we're going to have to do the political thing next week, but we will. Ross and I were talking, saying that we're going to go 60 seconds, and there's just too much fun stuff to talk about with, all the stuff that's going on with Weekend at Bernie's and those types of things that we're not going to get into tonight, but we know what I'm talking about here.
But look forward to it next week. It will be fun.
I feel like it's the Matrix. And lastly, let's talk about some other sponsors, some people that are helping us out with the new Inspire video that's coming out soon. Thanks to everybody that's helped and supported on the first one. If you don't know what we're talking about, go check out Inspire Interviews over on Facebook. Go over to gunnewsweekly.com and you'll get a quick update. These are also being posted on the Gun News Weekly channel and the Kevin the Tac Daddy channel. This particular episode that's dropping tomorrow, there's a preview out that I'm going to show you here as we leave tonight. This one's brought to you by L2D Combat, Head Down Firearms, Triumph, Midwest Industries, and IWI. Mikey Hartman is one of a kind. This guy we met at Big 3 for the first time 6 months ago, 5 and change, with CAA, with Hartman Optics. His background is unlike a lot of people I've ever met. He is a 20-year instructor in the IDF. He taught literally thousands of Americans and hundreds of thousands of Israeli soldiers how to shoot the Tavor, the M4, and the Galil, all in 5.56 from what I understand. 6-time IDF sniper champion. You can imagine the stories. You can imagine the inspirational stories. And he shared a few with us, and we've got them in the long version, which, again, hits tomorrow. I guess we'll check out tonight watching the preview video, if that's cool with you guys. Ross?
Oh, yeah.
Anything you want to say on the way out? Thanks for jumping in tonight again.
I just want to thank everybody in the chat, man. We got Richard in the chat, and CWB, and Conceal Pro. All the regulars are in there. A bunch of new guys are in there. Thanks again for all your support, guys. We couldn't do it without you, and look forward to seeing everybody here next week, same time.
All right. Casey, go right ahead, brother.
Nah, it's good hanging out once again, as always. Sorry we had the technical difficulties tonight. Look forward to next week. And hope everybody's doing well and has a great weekend.
According to the chat, I'm not saying any more affirmatives.
Shake your head no if you have a tiny penis.
Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Thanks, guys. And we will see you next Thursday night. But, again, please support, share, and that's the best way you can support us is by sharing those videos. If you like the video, hit the like button, share it, subscribe to the channels that are showing it. We'll leave you tonight with a quick preview of the next episode of Inspire that hits tomorrow. Thanks again to everybody, and we'll see you then. Oh, go check out TacDaddy.com. Go check out EverydayCarryLife.com. Thanks, Ross. Ross puffing up his chest because he got the shirt on. And thanks to Frank and everybody that supported us along the way. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Hold on, Kevin. That's retired Lieutenant Colonel Mikey Hartman with the Israeli Defense Force.
What got you from California back to Israel?
I saw a movie called Way on the Tip. I hijacked a plane full of threats, and they took them to Entebbe, Africa, and they kept them there in the airport. And we sent our Delta Force. And I saw that, and I said, I want to do that.
What highlight sticks out in terms of...
Well, I was given very few gifts from God. But the ability to shoot, to train to shoot, God gave me. So, but there are situations that you teach someone something, and then 2 weeks later, he had that only comes, you know what? Exactly what he said was going to happen happened. I did exactly what you told me. They didn't make me did that, but that happens all the time. Because I was the guy that wrote the document. Every time they shot, it had something to do with what I thought. But to be honest with you, that's important to me. And that, bringing the guys home was everything.
All right, make sure you check out that full episode next week. We appreciate it. And thanks again to the sponsors of the show. Make it all happen. Got a lot of great guests coming up. And Inspire is going to be something you're going to see on the regular from us going forward. Thanks for checking out Gun News Weekly. We'll see you guys next week. We're out. Peace.
Take care.